going on an adventure!
A few days earlier.
Hey team, welcome back. After spending New Year's Eve in Auckland, the time had come to make our way down the middle of the North Island of New Zealand. About an hour's drive south from Auckland is the small city of Hamilton. We swung by a berry farm for some delicious fresh fruit ice cream before making our way to one of the city's biggest attractions. We are in the Hamilton Gardens, which I thought was just like a, small set of walking around gardens. It is in fact an enormous complex of 14 different styles of garden, currently in the tropical garden. It is immensely popular, there's thousands of people here, and it's free. And so far, it's beautiful.
We wandered through the Surrealist Garden, the Herb Garden, and then into the Flourishing Kitchen Garden, through to the Concept Garden, and into a traditional Maori-style garden.
Carvings are great. We learned a long time ago that the tongue sticking out is an act of defiance.
After a moment in the Japanese Garden of Contemplation, we found the showstoppers.
Undoubtedly the most beautiful of the gardens that we have seen so far here. This is the Indian Star Garden. What a wonderful explosion of colour. Welcome to the Italian Renaissance Garden.
After exploring the last of these wonderful spaces, we made our way back to our campground for the evening.
Morning. We are in Hamilton, which I think is probably a nice place on a regular sunny day, but it's January the 3rd and everything is still completely shut. So we just had Mexican food for breakfast.
Not happy.
It's not sitting brilliantly in our stomachs, it must be said. We are going to find some coffee and then maybe actually go to the museum because they've got a Wildlife Photographer of the Year exhibition on, so that could be good. Here's a little bit of fun for you. We are standing at the site of the Old Embassy Theatre in Hamilton, which is where the Rocky Horror Picture Show came from. Little personal favourite. We had a little walk around the town centre before making our way into the Waikato Museum to learn a bit about the history of the area. This was the second ever Maori king. It was the son of the first king. The museum happened to be displaying a favourite of ours, the International Wildlife Photographer of the Year exhibition, which as always, we loved.
Good evening.
Good evening from the Nook.
Yeah, in Hamilton.
In the back of our van. We are doing a little bit of revision. We're going to Hobbiton tomorrow. Woohoo! So we are watching The Hobbit. So we will sign off for the evening with a cheers and massive doses of excitement for tomorrow because I cannot wait. It's going to be brilliant. So from the Doms in Hamilton, good night.
Good night.
They're taking the Lauren to Hobbiton. Hobbiton, ton. About an hour from Hamilton is Hobbiton. We parked up and jumped on our tour coach, and before we knew it, I was finally setting foot in a place that I have always dreamed of going. After 20,000 kilometres of travel, I was in the Shire. Welcome, everybody, to the Shire.
Area that we're in here, this is what we call Gandalf's Cutting. Now we call it that because the path cuts through the hill there, and this is the spot where you see Gandalf who rides into the Shire on his horse and cart. He's got Frodo Baggins sitting next to him in the first Lord of the Rings film. You remember that?
So an interesting thing we just learned is that the Hobbit holes, the doors were made in different sizes so that you could put different actors next to them at different times to give your brain a tricked perspective. So if Ian McKellen stood next to that, he'd look very, very large. Whereas if you stood next to that, it would look about full size. So you never see two mismatched size doors next to each other in the movie. The rain was coming down, but we didn't let it dampen our spirits. We are walking through the Shire, and around this corner are a billion people, but behind those billion people is Bag End. How beautiful is this? So, fun fact, that tree there sitting on top of Bag End is artificial, because they needed to recreate a younger looking tree to the tree that was there in The Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit is set 60 years earlier. They made the Lord of the Rings movies first, destroyed all of this, and then rebuilt it when the time came to do The Hobbit. So that's 300,000 fake leaves. So this is really special for me. As you guys can probably tell by now, I really love The Lord of the Rings, and the reason is because my grandpa introduced me to it. He gave me my first copy of the book. We went to see the movies together, and I promised him a long time ago that one day I would bring him to see the set of the movie. And I didn't, he died. But what I have done, if I can get it out, is brought a picture of him. So there he is. That's the man who gave me my love of this movie and these books. And I finally kept my promise. And that's the most famous hobbit hole in the world. Bag End. Brilliant. Lauren feels very at home here in the Shire because she's about the size of a hobbit.
My size finally.
This is where the trilogy ends. Sam's hobbit hole. It's the final shot of the Return of the King. And then it was time to go to the pub. You'll recognise this mill from the first Lord of the Rings movie when Frodo is in Rivendell. Not in Rivendell, in Lothlorien. And he looks into the mirror and he sees what will happen if he fails. He sees the Shire burning, and he sees that mill in flames. I apologise for my faux pas there. Want to go into the Green Dragon pub? Across the water is the Shire. We're in the Green Dragon. This, my friends, is a pint.
It comes in pints.
Lauren and I found a nice spot for a cuddle by the fire, and I had a quiet moment to think about just how much my grandpa had given me when he gave me my first copy of the book. I miss you so much, Gramps, and sorry it took so long to keep that promise. By the way, Hobbiton is beautiful. We have just had a lovely drink and a pie in the Green Dragon pub. And unfortunately, it's time to go. This has been really special, and I will always remember it. Been to the Shire. What a thing. So lovely that they've preserved it. It's so special to so many people. And one last look at Bag End. Up there on the top of the hill. Brilliant.
After a brilliant time in Hobbiton, we took an unplanned detour to Rotorua, a town best known for its geothermal activity and Maori culture.
We just had a funny moment cruising our way into Rotorua. You can see it on the left there. It started to smell funny, and Lauren said, "Have you farted?" I was like, "No," which this time I haven't. And we had a good minute of arguing about who might have farted. This whole area is full of geothermal springs, and the air everywhere stinks of sulphur. But there you go, we were accusing each other of having slipped one out silently and in a deadly manner, and it turns out the whole area smells of fart. Welcome to Tapuia, which houses the New Zealand Maori Arts and Crafts Institute. Should be really nice. So, word to the wise, you have to book the Tapuia Museum. You cannot just turn up. I didn't see anything about that on their website, so unfortunately we didn't get to go in. That is a 100° centigrade geothermal pool. There's a bunch of them here in this park. Strong, strong smell of sulphur. After a few more minutes of watching bubbly mud in the pouring rain, we left Rotorua and made our way to our stop for the next couple of nights, the even more volcanic site that is Lake Taupo. Good morning from Taupo, which is how it's pronounced. I kept calling it Taupo, but I'm told it's Taupo. We are standing in a supervolcano. Let me explain. So this lake that you're looking at here, which is about 10 kilometers across, maybe further, was formed when this volcano last exploded, thankfully many thousands of years ago. The force of the explosion literally blew out the earth that then sank back down, and it filled with rain over thousands of years, hence the lake. But make no mistake, underneath it and all around us, we are still very much in the middle of a supervolcano, and when it blows, it's the sort of thing that can cover the entire Earth sort of sky in volcanic ash and cloud. It's one of the biggest supervolcanoes in the world, I believe. And it's beautiful, except for the current slight inclement weather conditions that you've probably spotted. But there's a slight sort of smell of sulphur in the air from all of the sort of thermal activity around. And unsurprisingly, there's lots to do around here. It's all outdoors, not ideal, but we are going to make the most of it. We're going to head into town and have a little walk, grab a coffee. And then there are a few waterfalls, there are a few nice walks, and then we're going to go to a lovely spa for the day, I reckon. And chill in some nice thermal hot springs because we've earned it and there's nothing else to do in the rain. See you in a bit. Welcome to the Huka Falls. They are unsurprisingly raging after the amount of rain we've had over the last few days. So this is on the Waikato River, which is the longest river in New Zealand. And I think, if I read correctly, this is the only river that runs out into Lake Taupo. It's very popular. Look at this. It's only about 3 kilometers down the river to Taupo. It's a really beautiful river. And it stopped raining, which we're very happy about. We are going to have a little walk before lunch. Rather them than me. Look at that. It's beautiful. Welcome to Craters on the Moon, a geothermal park and boardwalk. We are going to hope that the weather holds and go walking for about an hour. This is really unique, I've never seen anything like this. Look at that. Ground is steaming. Amazing. So, standing here, we can actually feel the heat coming off of the steam. So this crater was caused by an explosion. So when you get pockets of ground underneath the sort of surface of the Earth, steam finds its way up. Eventually the pressure from the steam gets so high that it bursts through and creates craters like this. Look at that, what a place. Let's try and zoom in. You can just see the steam pouring off the rocks. Look at that. This place is fantastic. There's steam just pouring off the ground. And look at the amount being chucked out over there. It's incredible. If ever you needed proof that life can truly thrive anywhere, this is it. It literally has to be 100 degrees down there. We can hear the water bubbling underneath the ground. We can see the steam pouring off it. And it's thriving. This is how to get a free facial in a geothermal park.
So I can see.
Okay, this is the most active steam vent in the place. Everyone who's just come down keeps saying how hot it is up here. Look at that. When a bit of wind comes through and just blows the steam away for a second, you might see the water bubbling. There you go. Sounds like a jet engine. Oh, and it's as hot as one. Wow. Good news, team. It stopped raining long enough for us to get a proper view from the viewpoint. So that's the most active vent over there. That's the field that we've just been walking through. We've got Taupo town on the left over there, and just if I zoom in, over the top of that hill you can see the lake. Lake Taupo. This has been properly cool and really unexpected. We were just saying this would go, do we agree, darling, in our top 5 North Island experiences so far? Brilliant. We are at a thermal spring called the Terraces. It's extremely popular. Here, darling. How cool is that? 3 steaming hot, naturally powered thermal pools. But there's no way to actually put your phone on the side, which is no bad thing, so I'm going to go put mine back. So here's another van life reality moment for you. When it's raining outside and the air is damp, you get a lot of condensation inside the van, which builds up on the windows. So one of the tricks that we like to do before we go to sleep,
Grandparents are going to get soaked.
Is
sorry, Grandpa.
You wipe down the windows with kitchen roll. But my goodness, are we trailer trash or what? This is ridiculous. This is our new pre-bedtime routine. Dry the windows.
For as long as it's raining, this is my routine.
Bye bye Lake Taupo. Actually, we're still going to be by the lake for the rest of the day. This is the waterfront. It's quite nice. It's full of motels, hotels, resorts. You can imagine on a nice day this is astonishing, and that lake is a water sports paradise. But not today. I think this is probably about the best view we're likely to get of the lake. Hello again from the Nook. Again. It's raining.
Again.
We have no internet. There's no internet here. We are very close to Tongariro National Park. And to be fair to New Zealand...
Oh, these guys have just come back.
Oh, good for them. Oh, that gives us hope. There's people walking.
God, they're so... Do you reckon we can borrow their poles? There for another night. Anyway.
I suspect they're leaving.
Anyway.
That's a really good sign. So the weather is worse today than it's supposed to be tomorrow.
They look drowned.
They look a little damp, but they have done it. What time is it?
It's
3 o'clock. That's pretty good. I'm going to assume they have just done the Tongariro crossing, which is what we're going to do tomorrow. Supposed to be one of the very best one-day walks in New Zealand, which is saying something. we'll see how it goes. We're going, unless someone stops us, we're going. It's going to be a bit damp. But today we must rest, obviously, so we have got tea and biscuits and cookies that were going to be for tomorrow, but I've persuaded Lauren that they probably won't keep very well, so we should probably eat them now.
It didn't take much persuasion.
No. And we've got the new Matilda movie on Podrick. Podrick is my name for my laptop, I should probably explain, named after Podrick from Game of Thrones, who was, of course, the squire for, well,
Jamie.
everyone. Who wasn't he? He was Tyrion's squire in the end? I don't know. But I really liked Podrick, and I decided that...
No, the woman who's in Wednesday.
Brienne's squire, yes. I decided that a laptop is essentially just a squire for the digital age, so hence Podrick. I'm not that weird. I am that weird. And we are going to chill, and we will see you tomorrow on the Tongariro crossing.
Eek. Next time on the Doms Down Under.
Good morning from the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, one of the 10 best one-day hikes in the world. We go for a little hike in a storm across Mount Doom. It's a good thing Frodo didn't see these signs on the way up. They might have discouraged him. Look at this. Sulphur pools. You would not want to fall in those. It's my birthday!
Yeah, it is. And after about 4,000 kilometres of driving, we finally leave the North Island of New Zealand.
That is just so pretty. Before touching down on the astonishing South Island. So there you have it, guys. Hamilton, Hobbiton, a brief stop in Rotorua, and a quick trip around Lake Taupo. We really hope that you've enjoyed this one, and thank you so much for joining the journey this far. We'll see you next time to finish up the North Island of New Zealand. And if you haven't already, please click that like button and remember to subscribe to the channel.